Darkest greetings, horror sci-fi, and all you filthy animals out there. Drew here from Horror Sci-Fi Beyond. And why did I call everybody filthy animals? Well, that's because we're at our last episode of the year with our Christmas special, where we're going to be reviewing Home Alone 1 and 2. And let me introduce the man who suggested these movies, Mr. Axon Jackson Harbor. How's it going, man?
Howdy, y'all. All right.
And then for my second guest, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eric White.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Oh yeah, thanks for being on here. I think we're gonna
Happy to talk about these home invasion movies set during Christmas.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, Johnny Hughes, he did a lot of like slapstick home invasion movies in the 90s. Like he did this, and he did like 101 Dalmatians, I believe.
I guess he did do 101 Dalmatians. I mean, this was building into like his like children's movie era.
Yeah,
he did like Curly Sue and yeah.
Yeah, he spent the 80s doing teen movies and then the 90s doing family comedies.
Yeah, for sure.
Beethoven was one.
Yeah.
Oh, forgot about Beethoven. Yeah.
Well, because he's credited as Edmond Dantes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want
for
to
a lot of
that
those
one.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Beethoven. The first one's fine.
Yeah.
Charles Grodin carries the movie, and this cute dog. You know. Is it
plus
the
it's
best movie?
No. I tell you what I like about that movie is that Dean Jones, he of many like Disney family films of the 70s, plays maybe one of the darkest villains I've ever seen in a children's film. Because he's a veterinarian who is lying to his patients' families so he can kidnap the dogs and test weapons on them.
Right.
It's real dark. It's
that
real
is
dark.
Really dark for a kid's movie.
Yeah.
In the words of Nathan Fillion from Slither, now that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah. So I love Beethoven. I just love a dog movie, but I think that one's a really solid one.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The Beethoven franchise is connected to this.
How so?
Is it? How so?
Okay. So Judge Reinhold was in one of the sequels. I think it was like 3. He was in Gremlins, which was written by Chris Columbus, who directed Home Alone 1 and 2.
Oh.
It's a bit tenuous, but I'll buy it, I guess.
I mean, it's connected to this franchise because John Hughes.
And Hughes wrote them, yeah.
1 degree. Like 3 degrees, and it's 1 degree.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, enough sidetracking for now. Because it is us. Here's what we'll be covering in tonight's episode. We're, of course, going to be reviewing Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Also, just like the last couple of years, we're going to be talking about our favorite and least favorite movies of 2023 and our most anticipated movie of 2024. So I'm really excited for that. Also, we're going to give you a little sneak preview about what we got in store for, not NC Look Back, for Horror Sci-Fi Beyond for next year.
I guess MCU Look Back would be a part of that, though. So.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a given.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be
it's kind of a big part at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the one that's given us like 2.5-hour episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're probably gonna I was thinking like next year we'll probably like space out when we post those to like maybe every other month.
Yeah, sure. Maybe once.
Especially
once
since it's once we get past phase 3, it's going to be exhausting.
Yeah, that's why we need to space it out.
Yeah. Once we get the TV shows,
I'm excited to get the rest of the way through phase 3 though, because it's the best one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Anyways, guys, order some Little Nero's pizza. Grab you some eggnog, which is funny because I got the Infinity Gauntlet mug, and we're about to review that movie. And enjoy the holiday special, the Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond Christmas special, circa 2023.
I guess this does spiral into the horror category in some ways.
Home
because
invasion.
It is home invasion. Yeah. People are violently attacked in this movie, so yeah.
Especially the second one. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Man, the second one gets real violent. I forgot how bad it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot, Jackson. So last year when we had Reed on here for Muppets Christmas Carol, I actually asked him and Eric, what are some Christmas songs that you have to listen to this time of year, or it's not Christmas? And what are some for you?
I'm not that ritualistic, I guess. I don't, same with Halloween music. Like I don't really have to listen to Christmas songs. The one thing, okay, so there's this artist named Andrew Peterson. He's a Christian artist. He lives in Nashville. And one of my yearly traditions back when I did live in Nashville used to be going to his Christmas show every year, because he has an album called Behold the Lamb of God, and it's the nativity story as a concept album. And he would put on a show every year where he would perform the whole album, and he'd have lots of special guests. They would do like the first half of the show, it'd be like sort of in the round, like different songwriters doing their own stuff, and then intermission, second half of the show, they get up and perform the album beginning to end. And I went to it 11 years in a row. Like it was just part of my whole thing during Christmas. And so I don't live in Nashville anymore, so I don't go to the show, but we did, they do a live stream of it now that you can purchase. So me and my family and some of their friends, we did the live stream this year and watched it. And it's a really great show. I love it.
That's awesome. I'm gonna check that out, even though I'm not super but I do like
it's still like, even if you're not religious or anything, like it's still just really well written music, really beautiful songs. Like I said, it's Andrew Peterson. The album is called Behold the Lamb of God.
I mean, one of my favorite movies is The Prince of Egypt, because it's just a beautiful
yeah,
sweet, man. So you ready to get to Home Alone?
Let's jump right in.
I am so pumped to talk about Home Alone.
Oh yeah, I know you are. I know you are. And so the plot summary for the OG Home Alone movie, directed by Mr. Christopher Columbus, is an 8-year-old troublemaker mistakenly left home alone must defend his home against a pair of burglars on Christmas Eve. So, what are your guys' quick thoughts about this movie before we get into a bit of a deep dive? And I'll go with you, Jackson, since you're just clamoring to talk about this damn movie.
Okay, so this movie came out when I was 7 years old, about to turn 8. So I'm sort of basically the same age as Kevin in the movie. And I remember when it was coming out because, my dad, I guess, had seen a trailer for it. He was like, there's this movie coming out where this kid gets left at home alone and he has to defend his house from burglars. And immediately my imagination just went wild. I was like, we have to go see it. We have to go see it. We went to see it. And of course, it was my favorite thing I'd ever seen at the time. It was the first time where I was just like, oh, they're going to make a second one, right? They're going to make it. And then they made a second one. I was like, Kevin McAllister, when I was 7, 8 years old, was my hero. I could not get enough of this movie. And you know what? I'm 40 years old now, and I still love this movie. In fact, I think I love it even more. And we'll get into that.
40 years old.
What?
You're 4 years old or 40 years old?
40. I am 40 years old.
But this movie makes you feel like you're a 4-year-old again.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think a lot of people want to be Kevin McAllister, just like this smart aleck kid.
Yeah,
he likes he's smart. He knows how to say the right things and do the right things. Outsmart the burglars, which is I guess the funniest part about this whole concept of this movie. Fun fact, just real quick. I know we talked about this in our first ramble on. We were talking about our favorite books, and I mentioned one of my favorites was Greg Sestero's The Disaster Artist about the making of the Roman and
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a section in that book, as you would imagine in any book like that, where he talked about his early childhood and his love of film. And he said that he loved Home Alone, and he actually wrote a sequel to Home Alone and like John Hughes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's awesome.
So you saying you gushing over this movie reminding me of that section.
That is a really good book too. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, you read it?
I did. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I've read it too. It's a good book.
Okay. Your turn, Eric. What do you like about this movie?
I mean, I'm in the same sort of boat as Jackson in this. I watched this movie in theaters when I was a kid. It was like my favorite, not even holiday movie. I would watch it like all year round when we got like the VHS, just like all the time. So it's wonderful to go back. I really haven't watched this in probably a few years now. But this one, and specifically the sequel, I really loved Home Alone 2. Even though this is probably the better movie, I really loved Home Alone 2 when I was a kid. So I've seen this movie probably way too many times. I've probably seen this 30, 40 times throughout my life at this point. So much so that at points I could remember their dialogue before they got to it. And there's things in this movie that I continually say to this day.
Oh, wow, like off and on type of situation.
Yeah.
But this
yeah, like it's just infinitely.
Yeah, I can say it along with the movie easily.
So let's just start with the title sequence. This is kind of an underrated title sequence. Nobody really, I don't think people forget about it, but it's one of those title sequences when you talk about the greatest title sequence or your favorite title sequences. How many times can I say title sequence? But when you're in that, when you're talking about that topic of movies, and when this one gets brought up, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about Home Alone. Because they're like obvious.
As soon as it starts up, I can feel it moving back out of like and zooming out. You know what I mean? Is that crazy?
Oh yeah.
Like the moon comes in, I'm like, oh, we're moving backwards. I like in space and time because I know it's coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's like obvious ones that everybody knows are good title sequence, like Psycho. First one that comes to mind. Lord of War is another really good one. But like, but people just sometimes tend to forget about Home Alone as a really good title sequence, and it's like one of the things like, oh yeah, that's a good one.
Well, it's the music.
To the point. Yeah,
it's a John Williams score. It totally elevates the whole movie. But the title sequence in particular, that I can just hear that music in my head right now. Somebody pointed out I think it was Amy Nicholson on the Unspooled podcast. She pointed out something really cool about that title sequence, which is, the logo for the movie comes up and all the letters are capital letters except for the E, which is lowercase. And she's like, that represents Kevin. He's the little E.
Oh.
He's the little guy that's underestimated by everybody else in his family.
Oh, Halloween. That's another good title sequence.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, even like the David Gordon Green trilogy has some really good ones.
Yeah, I love what he did with it, like little riffs on the original title sequences.
Yeah, I like when I like how in the first one in that trilogy, how like the pumpkin is rotten and then it comes back, like Eels coming back to Haddonfield, but
yeah, well, and then the Halloween ends. It's like he does the title sequence from Halloween 3 because he's telling you right there, this is this movie is not about Michael Myers.
Yeah,
it's blue. Yeah, it's blue versus like the orange. It's good.
It's the same font as the Halloween 3. It's everything. Yeah, and it's like this movie's not about Michael Myers. Anyway, we already did those movies on here.
Sorry, everyone. They tuned in for Home Alone.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk more about Corey Cunningham.
So I love that. I love that particular song.
Oh yeah, Somewhere in My Memory. Yeah, it's terrific. Like I said, John Williams, man.
Yeah, that.
And
sorry.
They had another composer lined up, but they
Didn't
had
know
to
that.
drop out for whatever. And Chris Columbus called up Steven Spielberg because they had worked together on Goonies and Gremlins and stuff, because Spielberg produced those and Columbus wrote them. And he's like, "Hey, Mr. Spielberg, can you get me John Williams?" And he did. He got him John Williams. And now this movie is a classic, partly because of that John Williams score.
Yeah,
it would not. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
There's
know.
good needle drops in the movie too, but the score makes it really special.
It's all the glue that holds everything together.
Yeah,
right.
My favorite needle drop
makes it whimsical and dangerous at the same time. It's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
My favorite needle drop is boom boom.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Boom 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 boom. I love that. But I will say, for the intro, when you get to see Joe Pesci as a fake cop, he's so perfect at that. Because he's trying to be friendly, but he's a little bit antagonistic at the same time.
Yeah,
he's there to get info. He's just scoping the place.
Yeah, he's casing the joint.
Yeah, and he asks the kids if their parents are home. And they say no.
Are your parents home? Yeah. Do they live here? No.
Yeah. All kids,
no
parents.
parents.
Kids.
Probably a fancy
orphanage.
Oh goodness, I'm going to turn into Drew and just start quoting the whole movie in this episode, because this is one of the few movies where I can quote the whole movie.
Right. And then I love the foreshadowing when the pizza man tells him the total, and Pesci says, "Oh, it's not my house, kid." And then he said, "Oh, you're around for the holidays," and he's like, something like that.
Yeah.
I just love.
But also, Pizza Man also sets up that running gag of like them hitting the statue up front.
Everybody hits the statue. Yeah.
Everyone hits the statue, and it's nice because they don't really do the same thing again. They just implant that idea that everyone hits it, and then like the next scene is like the airport guys like picking it back up and putting it back on there.
Yeah. The first 15 minutes of this movie is some of the most incredible, like, economical storytelling that you will ever see, because he's got to set up all these characters, make them all feel like they are real people with real personalities. He's got to set all these little dominoes up in motion, like, oh, Kevin's plane ticket gets thrown in the trash can because he spilled the milk all over the counter, and then the storm has to come in and knock out the power and the phones, and that way their alarm clock doesn't work, and it's chaos, but it's so precise in how it's done.
Yeah, it almost feels like a Sean Levy movie, because if you notice in Sean Levy movies like Night at the Museum or Keeper by the Dozen, like there's just chaos in the background, which is great. This is why I like Sean Levy. And then he just comes across as that kind of guy.
And it's nice. It's nice you get like a lot of like, none of the characters are particularly fleshed out except for like Kevin and maybe his mom, but the rest of them you get nice like little beats in this opening bit. So you
get
know
a
who
moment
Frank
with everybody.
is. And you know who the redheaded Pete and Pete kid is. You know who all of his cousins are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going back to what you're saying, how like economic this movie is about setting stuff up. It's very similar to the movie that we reviewed last year around this time, Die Hard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where they set everything up.
I mean, this is Die Hard for kids.
Yeah,
basically.
Essentially. So
yeah, it's like it was like.
What if we did Die Hard?
Yeah, well, they gotta set up
with a child. Just as violent, but it's with children.
When we had to set up John McClane like not being barefoot, you have to set up
exactly.
Right, sure. His episode with his wife. Yeah, so it's similar to this, which is interesting. I always like movies where like they don't like spoon feed you the plot,
right?
Or how they set up everything like early on, but like in a smart way like this. I thought that was interesting. And then when the mom tells Joe Pesci that they're going to Europe for the holidays, and he gets happy, that's another part of that foreshadowing, like I was saying.
Yeah.
It's like, that's great. That's really great.
Yeah, and then you get like the gold tooth set up. That's how Kevin recognizes him later, all of that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is just such a talented performer, and I actually heard when I was listening to the commentary that he didn't have a lot of fun on this movie because he did. It's in mind. He's Joe fucking Pesci,
right.
Like Goodfellas, Raging Bull.
This and Goodfellas came out just a couple months apart. Yeah.
He's like, what the hell am I doing here? Like that was kind of like his mentality.
Well, from what I hear, like he wanted to do the movie because he wanted to have a movie that was kid friendly. Because he'd done all these Scorsese movies where he plays like violent, profane characters. He wanted something kid friendly, so he signed on for this one. This is after they had offered the part to Robert De Niro and John Lovitz, and they both turned it down. Yes, but when he got on set, he didn't like that he couldn't curse. He didn't like that they had an early call time because he likes to play 9 holes of golf every morning. Apparently he was a real big baby on this set. He was way more difficult to deal with than Macaulay Culkin.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I did hear that he avoided Macaulay Culkin on set too.
He did
to make himself feel scarier.
Yeah, he didn't want them to seem like they were friendly at all.
Like honestly, my favorite parts of this movie is when towards the end of the movie where Joe Pesci keeps getting hurt, and he's known, like you said, for having a very bad potty mouth. You can tell he wants to swear, and he's like, "Well, you little, you shut up."
Yeah,
it was like his way around it. Yeah,
it's a really good choice. It's a really fantastic character choice.
One of my favorite parts of this movie is when Kevin is freaking out over the old black and white gangster movie. But like he just decided to watch, because they set that up too. It's like, Mom, Uncle Frank and the others are watching a movie and they won't let me watch it. It's not an R-rated. And she's like, well, if you won't let you watch it, then it must be pretty bad. And then he's like, hey Mom, I'm watching rubbish. You better stop me. And then when the gun just
eating crap and watching rubbish. Yeah.
And he just starts freaking out. And like I thought that was so funny. And I'm like, yeah, wait till you watch Scarface, kid. With Al Pacino.
It is pretty tame, but although someone does get blown away pretty viciously in it.
That's another interesting little. I've got a lot of these for this movie in particular, not as much for the second one, but this one I've read up on it a lot. So those two actors, one of them's, I can't remember their names. But the guy that plays Johnny, the guy with the gun, was originally cast to play Snakes.
Oh.
And the guy that played Snakes was originally cast to play Johnny. But the guy that played Johnny in the final product, he had like knee surgery, and so he couldn't do the like falling down.
Oh, the pratfall.
So they switched characters, and the movie's all the better for it because it's perfect. I can't imagine it the opposite way.
Yeah, it would have changed that dynamic between them too.
Completely,
like him being Yeah,
well, the guy that played Johnny, like just to look at him, he looks like the perfect like mom boss.
To the point where a lot of people that grew up watching this movie just assumed that was a real old movie.
Oh yeah, I thought it was too.
That's how good they did at recreating the vibe of one of those old like gangster movies.
Yeah, with like
it's incredible.
And,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, we're gonna watch this movie called Home Alone. See, it's really funny. See.
Yeah, the dialogue seems straight out of one of those movies. The style of acting, just even the way it's shot. Like it looks like an old movie.
Oh yeah.
Even the title, like what isn't it called? Like Angels with Dirty Wings or something like that?
No, it's Angels with Filthy Souls.
Filthy Souls, that's it.
Which is a takeoff on an actual gangster movie called Angels with Dirty Faces.
Dirty Wings,
yeah.
How did you like my impression of Edward G. Robinson reviewing? It's like the movie funny, and then he just goes in this whole bit about Joe Pesci. He's like, Joe Pesci in this picture, see? I really like him in Goodfellas, see?
Is this going to turn into another Sly Stallone situation?
I keep coming back. Oh no.
Joe Pesci, I'm really good for that guy. He's a funny guy. Yeah, he got a big anger problem. It's okay.
Oh goodness, I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Nope.
Anyway,
bring it up again. Yeah. Home
But
Alone.
Macaulay Culkin kid is really cute. I really think he's funny. I like him a lot. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop.
Yeah, he's not even in this movie. Come on.
Well, one of these days we gotta do Rocky 4 because that's technically a Christmas movie.
You talking Rocky for the new director's cut or Rocky for like the OG one?
The new one.
I haven't seen the.
I haven't seen the new cut.
Yeah, it's better than the original.
Does it have
I
more
believe it.
montages?
Yeah.
Is it more robot?
No, no robot at all.
Ugh.
I mean, I like the
Lost me
robot,
then.
but I was fine without it. Honestly, I really don't care.
Well, anyway.
Okay, back to Home Alone.
Yes.
I freaking love Captain O'Hare in general. I love her in this movie. I just love how she can just be so calm and collected one moment, and then just freak out the next moment. Like, when she finally lands in America, and then she's trying to get a plane back to Chicago, and he's like freaking out over at the receptionist or whatever, and she's like, just give me a plane to Chicago. Do it.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing. Like, she always goes back to calm and collected. I don't know how she does it. Like, she does it in Beetlejuice a lot.
Yeah. The thing about Catherine O'Hara in this movie is, you know, we all think about Kevin and the robbers, but like half the movie is about her.
Yeah.
She is the co-lead of the movie. And so she has to carry her half of the movie, even though it's not as, you know, silly and antic as the rest of it. But she's like the heart and soul of the movie.
Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No.
So
that impassioned speech she gives to that lady. Yeah, the lady's like the dangly earring one. Oh man.
Yeah.
She already has earrings, plenty of earrings, dangly ones.
Whole shoebox full of them.
But
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But I gotta say, if we had to assign Home Alone characters for us, I definitely would be Kevin McAllister because I just look like Macaulay Culkin. I think you would be Marv, Eric, just for some reason. I can't think of anybody else.
Okay, all right. So I'm the one. I'm the wet bandit. I'm the one who's like stuffing. Okay.
And then
okay,
Jackson, definitely your John Candy at the Polka King.
If you hadn't made me the Polka King, I would have made myself the Polka King.
Okay.
Polka.
Good old Gus Polinski.
Oh, that was his name. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest.
Yeah, I was King of the Midwest too. I mean, this movie is full of people I love, like Joe Pesci, John Candy.
And he did this as a favor to John Hughes because, you know, they had worked together a couple times. And
Uncle Buck and
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and The Great Outdoors.
Great Outdoors, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he was only available for one day. He came in and shot for 23 hours.
Ooh.
Whoa.
And he got paid $414. And he improvised all his lines.
That's awesome.
That's wild.
He was the only person in the cast that was allowed to go off script because John Hughes was like, okay, you're fine. I trust you.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Macaulay Culkin was the Buck, right?
Yes, that's how he got the job because John Hughes had worked with him and suggested him to Chris Columbus. Now, Chris Columbus still went and auditioned like 200 kids before circling back around and being like, yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
You're right.
He's the right,
yeah.
He's the right guy.
Going back a ways a little bit, one of my favorite Kevin moments is when he discovers that the cars are still in the garage, and this is his facial expression.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
I can't really
Macaulay Culkin is
the audio, but just trust me, if you've seen the movie, just his facial expression cracks me out.
The cars are still here. They didn't go to the airport.
They had to go to the airport. So good.
Yeah.
I mean, he really carries this movie. It's wild to think about, but like his section of the movie is basically him by himself for like
it's like It's like a
60% of it.
Castaway sort of
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Except he doesn't even have a Wilson to talk to. Like, he is just stuck by himself trying to figure all these things
Well, he
out.
talks to himself a lot. He's kind of
I
like
guess so, yeah.
narrating the whole thing, and that's part of what
Right.
the charm of this movie. You know,
Yeah.
standing in the mirror, like talking about like how he washed all of his major crevices, including in between his toes and his belly button, which I never did before, but sort of enjoyed.
But no, this is like a Castaway where Tom Hanks can leave and buy groceries and buy booby traps and steal a toothbrush that's probably certified by the National Dental Society because old Marley comes in and scared of him. Were you guys ever scared of Old Man Marley? Because I sure as hell was.
I mean, he seems, because of the John Williams score, he seems scary because every time he shows up, you hear that dum dum, that sort of music comes up.
Yeah,
and his boots, boots like make that sound, like that sort of stompy, jangly sound.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand as a kid. I didn't know that. We grew up in the South, so it was like you didn't really salt your roads or sidewalks or anything. So like
I didn't
the
know
salt,
anything about
trash
that.
can weirded me out. I was like, why does he have so much salt in that trash can?
Maybe just being nice.
No.
Confused me.
So
salt turns to bodies into mummies.
Oh yeah, that's
and then Kevin's just like, mummies. It's just.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of Buzz, I just gotta say one thing to you, Jackson. I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were going on my ass.
I'm gonna feed you to my tarantula.
Well, I like that's a testament to the actor that plays Old Man Marley. It's because
Roberts Blossom is his name.
Oh, what's his name?
Roberts Blossom.
Yeah, Robert Blossom. Like, he can be really creepy and scary without saying a word. And then in the church scene, which is my personal favorite scene in the movie, spoiler alert, like, just be so kind and gentle.
Yeah. Well, when he first speaks, you first hear him, he's like, Merry Christmas. Might I sit down, you know? And his voice is so warm and kindly.
And the only times we really ever see him, before it was at night or it was like in the convenience store with his bloody hand. And so we were tricked into setting him up to be a villain to begin with. Christopher Columbus.
And it turns out that Chris Columbus is actually the one that created that character because he did an uncredited pass on the script.
Oh, okay.
And he came up with the idea for that character because he wanted something to add a little bit more depth to the story. And so that was not a John Hughes invention. That is a Chris Columbus.
That's wild.
You know, he's an accomplished screenwriter in his own right.
Of course. Sure. I mean, that is, without him there, it doesn't fulfill sort of Kevin's arc. You know what I mean? Like, without him there discovering that family is important and that you can't just wish them away. This is the lesson that Kevin has learned. Without him there, he doesn't learn any lesson. Then that's wild. Okay.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes in that is when he tells when he tells the old man Marley that his grandma bought him like really dorky underwear or something like that.
Oh, it's a sweater with like a duck on it or something.
Yeah.
Or a bird, some sort of bird.
That was very nice of her. And he's like, well, it may be, but you can get beaten up for something like that. And old man Mary's like, oh.
The thing is about this movie is like every character, even like the people that show up for one scene, they feel real and lived in, and like they could have their own story going on. Like the lady in the grocery store, the cop that's eating the donut while he's talking on the phone. You've got the little kid from across the street, the Murphy kid. He's just asking a million questions to the shuttle driver. And then my favorite of the little one scene characters, I love when he goes in the drugstore and he's asking about the toothbrush. And she calls, well, I'll get to that, but because this scene makes me laugh at stuff that's not even a joke. Like she calls the other guy over, and by that point Marley's walking in, but she's like, is this toothbrush approved by the American Dental Association? And just the way that the grave manner with which that guy goes, I don't know. And then he walks out without it, and it's like, Jimmy, stop that boy. And then you see Jimmy, and he looks like Mr. All-American, like captain of the football team out of a 50s sitcom.
Yeah.
And I just, for some reason, that just makes me laugh when I see Jimmy, because he turns around like he's Captain America.
Chases them to the door and then immediately gives up.
Yeah, well, he sees the cop, so
I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe with Jimmy Olsen. The Santa guy. Every little character in this movie is spectacular.
Hey, hold out your little paw. I got some Tic Tacs for you. Yeah.
Well, maybe that kid in the convenience store is Jimmy Olsen secretly. Pretty cool, though.
Could be.
Maybe.
I'd believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He moves to Metropolis when he graduates high school, gets a job at the Daily Planet. Yeah.
Yeah, his football career didn't work out, so he became a photographer. But yeah, anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about Home Alone?
I could literally talk about this movie all night.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I know I'm forgetting to talk about something. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with this movie. I've seen it so many times.
Oh yeah, this movie, it's a bona fide classic for sure.
I'm trying to think if there's anything pressing. I don't know.
Okay.
It'll come to me later when we're not recording anymore. Yeah,
of course.
What about you, Eric? Is there anything that you want to say before we get to the favorite part and least favorite part?
I mean, I think we never made it to the actual, like, the draw of the movie itself, but we didn't really talk about, like, the Rube Goldberg style contraptions he sets up for all these burglars at the end. Just completely destroys them. Which is both fun for, like, kids to see a kid hurting an adult, but also like these guys would be dead. Did you ever see the video? I think there was a video online where it was like detailing like how they would die at every point. From like the paint can thing to all of it.
Well, we should mention the movie Better Watch Out while we're talking about the paint can thing. Have you seen? Oh, Drew, you gotta watch. When we were talking about our favorite Christmas horror movies last week,
I forgot about that.
I totally forgot to mention Better Watch Out. It's really good. It's sort of a riff on Home Alone a little bit, but I don't want to give anything away about it because there are some turns that it takes.
Yes,
but
don't watch any trailers for it. Just
yeah. Can I get
They do a riff on the paint can scene that is spectacular.
Yes.
Can I get that for free anywhere, or can I watch that for free?
It's on
I
Shudder.
think you can watch it. I think it's on Shudder, and then it's on Tubi. Okay. You can watch it for free with ads on Tubi.
Yeah.
So I was watching it the other night, actually.
Yeah, I want to
after we were talking about Black Christmas, I was like, I need to watch Better Watch Out again.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. So Eric, no, actually, Jack, you first. I'll make you go first on everything regarding since this is your suggestion. So I want to make you feel all special and warm and fuzzy inside because it's Christmas. Yeah. By the way, we're putting this out on Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Well, even though we'll say it at the end of the video.
Merry Christmas, y'all building and lawn.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter. Merry Christmas to you, Bailey. And I'll see you in prison.
All right. Okay. Favorite part. Oh gosh. This is Sophie's choice over here. I could just mention like 10 different things, but what I'm gonna go with, if I gotta mention one, I feel really bad leaving out the church scene with Marley, but I've got to go with Gus Polinski telling the story about leaving his kid at a funeral home. He was there for like 6 hours, 6-7 weeks later, he got over it, started talking again. Oh, it's so great. And he improvised that monologue too. So, chef's kiss.
Your least favorite part?
I don't have one. No, okay. I'm not gonna pick one. It would be blasphemous for me to pick. My least favorite part is that you know, it spawned a whole bunch of movies like it that are not nearly as good.
Yeah.
You know, you got, and it's some of them I like I kind of like Three Ninjas, but then you got something
Yeah.
like Blank Check, which is just
Ooh.
the stupidest thing.
Right.
So
I know that we didn't discuss this off pod, but do you have a particular favorite trap in this movie?
my favorite trap. That's a good question. I don't know if I can pick one. They're all so good. The funniest thing is not a trap though. In that sequence, the funniest thing is when he picks up the tarantula and puts it on Daniel Stern's face. And
his
you
scream.
Hear the blood-curdling scream.
Dude, that is my mom right there. Like, I know I'm parenting right now, but that is my mom to a T. Like, she does not like spiders at all.
I don't either. I mean, I know tarantulas are harmless, but I wouldn't want one on my face.
Yeah, if you want to see my mom freak out, like
tarantula.
Yeah, put her any spider. She does not like.
Yeah.
And then what is your favorite part and least favorite part and favorite trap, Eric?
Favorite part. You know, and honestly, watching this through, and I haven't watched it in a few years. My favorite stuff now is really the Catherine O'Hare stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Kevin stuff's all great, but I've memorized those scenes as a kid so many times. Like watching her stuff again, like as an adult with like adult eyes, like it's like it's nuanced in some ways, and it's really like sweet and wonderful. I don't know. It was a new favorite watching it through this time.
Oh yeah. And then your least favorite part.
Man, that's hard. I don't know. This is like a pretty perfect like kids movie. If I guess if you were to nitpick anything, is that maybe you could have set up Kevin being like like his ingenuity earlier on in the movie.
Yeah.
Like what sets off his family is a contraption he built for it or something like that. This sort of sets up like the third act, but that's like a nitpick that like I don't need it. Everything else works so well in that first 15 minutes. It would have felt like contrived and put on. So nothing. I don't have anything. I talked myself out of it.
I do agree with you. They don't set it up at the outset of the movie, but they do build to it gradually throughout the movie. Because he sets up all the mannequins and stuff to fool the burglars. He's messing with the pizza boy with the movie and everything. He does all of that. And so you sort of gradually see it unfold.
Right.
Yeah. So
for sure. And then what's your favorite trap?
Man, the one that always hurts is the and the one that always makes me laugh is one where is the Christmas ornaments on the floor. Because I can hear and feel them like going into his feet, like bare feet. That one always makes me laugh. It's just his performance too is always really good in that scene.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Daniel Stern much at all, but he's
one of my favorite Marvin Harry exchanges is when they're planning on burgling the house, like towards the end of the movie, and he's like, "And we'll come back at night." And then Daniel Stern is like, "Yeah, kids are scared of the dark." And then, and then Harry's like, "Marv, you're scared of the dark. I'm not."
Yeah. Marv is such a child.
Yeah.
I love Daniel Stern.
What's funny? What are you laughing at? You did it again. You're sick.
So my favorite,
gosh.
My favorite part of this movie is the church thing, because that is so heartwarming to me. I just something about that, just the way that the actor plays that.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just really warmed my heart. And then my least favorite part, I mostly love Catherine O'Hare in this movie. I wish there would have been maybe one beat or two before she realizes that Kevin is missing, or they left behind Kevin, before she did that. Kevin. Yeah, I wish there would have been like maybe that could have been extended out a little bit longer.
I don't know. I feel like they extend it just enough, because you see her, she's like going through her purse and everything, and she gives it a nice little breath there before she finally figures it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like the abrupt, like her saying Kevin. I don't know. There's just something about it that's like it's a little bit off. It's just a little.
Okay. Talk about picking nits,
Well,
man.
you know what, Jackson. I am a film Mick Hall now. Okay, so I'm gonna be picky about this stuff. My favorite trap, and this is like I can relate to this, is the icy steps that Marv have to go up, and he gets to when he keeps slipping, and he gets to the top, and he to balance himself, he has to press his legs on the porch.
Yeah.
That is totally me because I am a total klutz.
We get 2 sets of icy steps in this, right? There's Marv and
the front and the back.
Yeah,
because Harry's going up the front porch and then Marv is going down the back steps into the basement. Yeah. And he's got the crowbar. It's like hanging on the side of the door, and he falls down. And the crowbar falls on his head. It's great.
All right, Jackson, what would you rate this movie?
Oh, this is a 5-star movie. I don't have to think about it. It's 5 stars.
Eric?
5.
Okay.
I rated it 5 as well.
You guys convinced me. I went 4.5 because
she doesn't pause long enough before she says Kev.
Well, I love this movie, but it's not it's not Christmas if I don't want this movie kind of thing.
Oh,
like It's a Wonderful Life, or I know this is not a movie, but the Christmas with the Joker episode of Batman the Animated Series, like that's one of those. Like it's Christmas time when I watch that movie.
Oh, okay.
Or that episode. This is not.
I don't watch this every year either, but
yeah, and I love this movie, and I think it's a great Christmas movie. But I'm fine with not watching it every single year. Like I can go a year without watching it.
Yeah, I don't know if you had asked like 12-year-old me, I would have said I watched it 3 times this year, and I'm gonna watch it again at Christmas. Yeah. But I just don't watch it as much as I get older. But like I watched it every year, a couple times a year.
Yeah.
For like a decade.
Yeah. But with that being said, I'm gonna change my rating to a 5 out of 5. You convinced me.
Okay.
I found out something really fun. So this movie is really, really popular in Poland.
Really? Huh.
Because it was one of the first movies that they got after like the Soviet Union collapse and they became an independent nation again. This and Die Hard, they're both really big. But so they always play it on Christmas Eve on their like national, network. It's called Polsat, I think. And one year, I think it was 2010 or something like that, they didn't play it. And like 90,000 people wrote into the station, be like, why did you not play Home Alone? And it apparently gets like between 4 and 8 million views every Christmas Eve when they show it on television.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Speaking of like foreign well, have you ever heard of a movie called Deadly Games? It was called like Dial Code Santa at some point. It's a French film from like 1989, like the year right before Home Alone came out, and it's almost the exact same premise. It's like a kid left at home who's like really into Rambo, and this crazy it's basically like Silent Night, Deadly Night meets Home Alone, and the Santa is trying to break into him and kill him, and it's like an R-rated movie. It's wild.
Oh wow!
I would say give it a watch this Christmas if you get a chance.
That sounds fun.
Hey, you ready for Home Alone 2: Lost in
New
York?
Sure.
Yes.
In the plot summary for Home Alone 2: Lost in New York, according to the Internet Movie Database, 1 year after Kevin McAllister was left home alone and had to defeat a pair of bubbling burglars, he accidentally finds himself stranded in New York, and the same criminals are not far behind. So, Jackson, what are your quick thoughts about this movie?
Okay. Start by saying I enjoy this movie a lot. I think I find it very fun. It's very funny. It's entertaining. It's also much, much stupider than the first one. And I say that because like the first one, the premise is a little far out there, but it's sort of believable. It's sort of believable. This movie is a pure fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Like nothing that happens really makes any sense. How he winds up in New York is crazy. The fact that the wet bandits also end up in New York and run into him. New York is a city of millions and millions of people, and somehow they bump into Kevin McAllister on the street. It's insane.
Correction, it's the Sticky Bandits.
Well, yes, but that when they first get there, they're still known as the Wet Bandits. They don't take on the mantle of Sticky Bandits until after they show up in New York. Why am I arguing about this? This is ridiculous.
But I will say one of my favorite parts is when Daniel Stern is trying to flirt with that one chick. Or he keeps flirting with that one chick, and he like punts in the face. And he's like, he likes me. He really likes me.
I will say Daniel Stern, he really gets the shine in this one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's the son in both movies, really.
He does, but I think his funniest stuff is in this one.
Oh, really? I'm gonna have to
yeah. We'll get into it, but yeah.
Eric, what is your quick thoughts about this movie?
I'm along the same lines as Jackson. If you'd asked me as a kid, hands down, I loved the second one more. It was just like the first one, but it just like upped the ante on everything.
It's bigger, yeah.
It's bigger. It's more stuff. Like there are like helicopter shots in this one,
right?
Him on the bridge and everything, and it's the exact same movie. That's probably the biggest fault of this whole thing is that it's the exact same movie as the first one. It just now happens to be in New York, and it makes less sense. All of it, all around. That he can get away with any of this. New York is a terrifying place if you've ever been there. I went there as a 30-year-old. It's terrifying. Like, I can't imagine a kid walking around and being able to do any half these things. Yeah.
There's like one spot in this movie that's like scary, where it makes New York scary when he's at night.
Oh, where he's going through the park at night and
well, the weird thing about it is like that prostitute is like flirting with a clearly an underage kid.
Yes, a child.
Yes.
And not that forget, there's a very similar moment in the '89 Batman with that parent with that family that gets robbed.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't ever watch that movie because I don't like it.
Yeah. In the opening scene when like the family they're trying to find like a taxi or where to go, and then like that prostitute comes up to like the kid. I'm like, what? Was this like okay in the 80s and 90s for prostitute characters to like flirt with like underage children?
I guess it's just shorthand for showing that this town is terrible.
Yeah, it's like had morals.
Filled with the worst people.
It's just weird. I like this movie a lot. Like you guys said, there's a lot of conveniences in this movie. Like the whole thing with batteries. Like, why did he need the batteries right there or right now when they're late for the airport? Them being late makes more sense than just this random thunderstorm happens.
Right.
Because like the father was unplugging something.
Yeah. But here's the other thing. Nobody else set an alarm in a house full of people.
Yeah.
They're all going by Peter's alarm clock for some reason.
Right. I guess you could make the argument they're all out of town and they didn't bring their alarm clocks with them, and that they were but is the loosest sort of way to patch over that sort of thing. Yeah, like none of the kids have alarm clocks.
I will say I do like how Fuller gets some lines in this movie.
That's true. He was completely silent in the previous one. Fuller.
Oh.
Yeah. You're gonna be
we didn't talk about Fuller at all.
At all. Yeah.
I hate how Kevin keeps getting in trouble just for simply reacting to Buzz being a jerk.
Right? It's so unfair.
Yeah.
Buzz is clearly 100% at fault for what happens.
Right. Well, especially here. Especially here. Because Kevin's trying to be good. He's trying not to do things.
Yeah, he's just singing his solo. He's got a nice voice. He's very happy to be singing about a Christmas tree.
Yeah. I will say at least the mom did handle it a little bit gentle instead of like getting completely upset.
Right.
But like, come on, she's still taking Buzz's side. Like you can see that like he was messing with him when he was doing the solo.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean, the first one you can make
literally everyone saw it.
Yeah. He's on a stage in front of everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the uncle thought it was funny. Like,
well, of course Uncle Frank thought it was funny.
Frank.
He's the worst.
Oh.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah. Get out of here, you little pervert.
Or I'm gonna slap you silly. Yeah.
You know, Uncle Frank, John Hughes originally wrote that part for Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, really?
But he was not available. So they got I can't think of the actor's name now off the top of my head, but I honestly think the movie is better for having that guy in it.
Yes, yes. It would have been weird with Kelsey Grammer there. Yeah.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer, I can't picture him being like that sort of petty and and mean and kind of a bully.
Right, yeah. I think Kelsey Grammer's would have come off as like a snotty English professor versus yeah. Frank in this movie feels like a working class almost dude who's now kind of like living it up with his like rich family that he, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's in the first one, he's like talking about like, hey, put these in your purse. Like I think they're real silver.
Put the real crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about this while we were talking about the first movie, but I just realized we have to bring this up. Okay. I don't know if y'all have like looked at the internet theories surrounding this movie, but everybody's wondering like, how is this family so rich? What does Peter McAllister do for a living? And the consensus seems to think he's maybe like a lawyer for the mob.
Oh.
Because think about it. In the first movie, when he sees Joe Pesci for the first time, he comes up, he's like, am I under arrest or something?
Yeah.
And he's kind of got a guilty look on his face. I think he's a mob lawyer.
Ooh, okay. I mean, they're in Chicago.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, like
home. But their house is enormous.
Right.
Everything in it is fancy. He's like taking his family to Paris. He's taking his whole family to Florida, and like his whole extended family, which is huge. So anyway.
Right.
And then he has just the worst brother.
Right.
So anyway, that's neither here nor there, but thought I'd mention it.
I believe it. I'll buy it.
Home Alone, Goodfellas crossover. So I love Goodfellas, if you guys couldn't tell.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't like my impressions, but can I please do my Joe Pesci impression from Goodfellas?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Whoa. Wait 1 second. I'm funny how? Like I'm a clown, like I'm here to amuse you? I don't understand, man. I'm a little fucked up. How the fuck am I funny?
Pretty good. That's pretty good, Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
At least you didn't do Sly Stallone again.
Don't say it.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Joe Pesci impression. You know what? That is your punishment.
Open Pandora's box.
That is your guys' punishment for mentioning that man's name. Every time you guys mention Sylvester Stallone, I am gonna do the impression. Just to punish you. So
it's gonna make really hard.
Your goddamn mouth shut.
Will be really hard to do a review of Rocky IV then, or I just won't say his name. I'll just say the Rocky.
If we're actually reviewing a Stallone movie where we gotta say his name multiple times, I'll have mercy on you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime you suggest reviewing anything close to Sylvester Stallone, I'm gonna shoot it down now.
Okay. Yeah, but
Home Alone 2.
But anytime it's not, and I'm gonna go on your ass.
Okay.
Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy, sir, Sensei. Yep, so I'm just warning you. If you mention Sly, I'm every time I'm gonna do it.
Mum's the word. I'll never say his name again.
Anyways, so here's my theory about Tim Curry's character. I haven't fleshed this out yet because I don't know how this is gonna work, but I think he's actually Pennywise, and that's why he's going after Kevin.
Okay. Hey, what's the connective tissue there? Like what?
I don't know. I don't know how the hell he gets from Gary, Maine to New York.
Okay.
What if every Tim Curry character is Pennywise?
That'd be awesome.
See, I think every Tim Curry character is the character he played in Congo, which was just a big con artist to try to get money. Moka Mio Homoka. Traveling the world is doing good. Huh?
You mean Pennywise?
Yeah. They're all Harkamil Homoka from Congo.
You're like, hey there, Georgie. I'm trying to get your money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's a question. Drew, you probably didn't, but Eric, you might have. Did either of you ever have a talk boy?
No.
Yes.
Yes, I also had a talk boy. It was one of my favorite toys.
I love it. I still love it to this day. They go for so much money online now. Really? I don't know if mine still works. They go for like $200 now. You can get one for yeah.
I don't have mine anymore. I actually sold it to this store where I used to work that was like records and comics and games and toys and stuff. I sold it to get store credit so I could buy some records and stuff. But I kind of wish I still had it. But I had it for years and years and years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I still have mine, but I want to say the last time I turned it on, like the microphone bit was broke. So it would just play back what I recorded as a child, which was also very entertaining. Yeah, but I love that thing.
They made that just for this movie.
They did.
Yeah,
then it was but that was what I wanted for Christmas that year. When this movie came out, I saw it and I was like, this I must have.
I want this 100%.
The talk boy. I talk boy. I
love it.
Yeah.
I love that talk boy. Best tape technology from 1992 that money could buy.
Credit card, you got it.
Well, what the movie doesn't show you is if you record it on the slow setting and then play it at normal speed, it sounds, it's like fast and high.
Credit card.
The movie has kinds of ways to like trick out the talk boy. Record something off the TV, play it backwards.
I don't have like all the trivia on this movie that I have on the first movie, just because I don't think it's as interesting of we didn't even go into the whole thing about how the first movie almost didn't happen. Because it was set up at a different studio and they didn't want to give them money for it, so they took it to a different studio. You can look it up. It's on Wikipedia. It's it's pretty interesting. This movie, clearly they had a lot more money because the first movie was so huge. And so you get, it just has a bigger scope and scale. They shot in the actual Plaza Hotel, which is why there's a Donald Trump cameo in the movie. Yeah, that's why, because that was part of the deal. It's like, you can shoot here. I just want a cameo in the movie. That sort of thing. So,
yeah. A lot of movies kind of set in New York or claim to be set in New York, like Jason Goes to Manhattan or even like Scream 6. They'll do a couple establishing shots, a couple couple maybe one or two landmarks, and then the rest of it's shot completely somewhere else.
Right.
I think they shot Scream 6 in Canada or something like that.
They did, yeah.
And so I will say there is a lot of New York in this movie, and it does feel that way.
It feels like New York, and New York. It's my favorite city I've ever been to. I just adore New York, and so that's one reason I really enjoy watching this. Is just because this place I've been there, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I do love the toy store scene in this movie. I just any scene that takes place in a big toy store like this is awesome. Like I just want to live in there. Like even as an adult, even as someone who's about to turn 30 in like 5 months.
I will say, watching it through this time, all the toys that are in there are kind of like old fashioned.
They're like old school. Because it looks better on film, if you've got these sort of old timey toys, it's got a more of a Christmas, like traditional vibe to it. Because if it was just a bunch of like action figures hanging on a wall rack, that's not interesting to look at.
Loads of Ninja Turtles everywhere.
Exactly.
That's what I would have gone for, is Ninja Turtles.
Well, yeah, I mean, me too. I had a ton of those when I was a kid. Those were my favorite. Those and GI Joes, they were my favorite toys. But if you're gonna make a movie, you got to have like you know, the big carousel and the doll houses and you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, toy trains. It just looks better.
Yeah.
So. Right. And plus Duncan is older.
He's like an old, like kindly old. These movies love their kindly older people.
Yeah.
Love their kindly older people. Also, it keeps from dating this movie too. Right. Because they throw in a bunch of toys in for like the only thing that really dates it is like the Talk Boy, but it didn't exist outside of this movie before then. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So there's nothing to like tie it to.
Can you imagine like Mr. Duncan's opinion on the Ninja Turtles? Is like, I ain't gonna sell those dreaded Ninja Turtle toys in this shop.
Yeah, no, I don't think Duncan would be like that. I mean, he sells the little monster goo stuff.
Yeah.
He's got modern toys got it in there. They're just they're in a different room. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say Home Alone 2 hits like beat for beat like the same. It's like beat for beat almost the same movie as the first one. Like from the introduction to the bandits to like the mom trying to get to get back to Kevin and all that sort of stuff is the exact same movie again, but now we've just kind of upped the ante on location and then also hardcore violence by the end of the movie.
The traps in this movie, like Marv never makes it through the front door of the house in real life. He is dead. Yeah. He has been hit 4 times in the face with a brick.
Yes.
His brains are on the sidewalk in real life.
You would think Harry would move him. Like after like
he's like
yeah, got me some out of the way, Marv. We gotta get this.
Yeah, but Harry doesn't care what happens to Marv.
No. He just wants to get the kid for some reason. Like, yeah, like the setting up the whole trap house and everything is less convincing this time around but I guess it's more, I don't know, it's weird because Kevin takes initiative to like set them up. Isn't that right? How it happens?
Yeah,
like
he's not defending his home. He is setting a trap for them.
Right. Yeah. It is the most brutal thing at every point. You get electrocuted. The electrocution scene may be my favorite bit, where he turns into a skeleton.
That's one of the scenes I was talking about when I was saying that Daniel Stern really shines in this movie, because you get that scream again, but it's like way extended.
It just like ups the ante like every time. It like, yeah, it's good.
That's funny.
There's my favorite. Well, this is not like official favorite part, but the funniest thing in the movie to me is the scene where they first see Kevin like on the sidewalk and they come up behind him, and you know, he says, "Hey, ya pal," and you know, Kevin turns around and you see Marv's hand like coming at Kevin's face, and then Kevin screams. The look, the comedy acting that Daniel Stern does there, you have to go back and watch it. Because like obviously on this show I can't do it because it's not a visual thing, but if you go and watch his facial expression in that moment, it is absolute one of the funniest things I've ever seen an actor do. To the point where I remember watching this movie with some friends in college, and we must have rewound that little moment 20 times and watched it over and over again and laughed our heads off, just like rolling on the floor, gasping for air, laughing at Daniel Stern during that scene.
That's funny.
So yeah,
there's also it also we're giving more to our bandits this time around too. Like they kind of only had like a handful of scenes before, but I feel like they do give them a little more screen time this go around. So they do get a little more.
They got all this other stuff going on.
They seem more dastardly here because they're gonna steal all the money that Duncan's toy store made on Christmas Eve that were gonna go to a children's hospital and basically use it for themselves. I'm like, that's pretty shitty.
Yeah, but I don't think they're even thinking about that. Like, I don't even think they know about the children's hospital. They just see a bunch of money and that's what they're after.
Easy score, a bunch of money.
Right.
Yeah, but you had the audience knows that, and Kevin knows that. So to me, that would
well, plus they have a gun.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Where did you get a gun from? Did you like steal it from like one of the guards in the prison?
I don't know. This movie doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he could have gotten it from anywhere. There's seedy lowlifes hiding out in New York.
Okay, so I got a question. Are Mark and Harry brothers, or like how do they know each other?
They're not brothers that I know of, because if you look at their names in the credits, they have last names, and they're different last names.
Okay.
So
it's Marv, it's Harry Lime and Marv. I forget what the other one's name is.
Harry Lime, that's a weird reference to the third man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Just best friends who rob people. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But no, did you guys want to say anything else before we go to favorite part and least favorite part?
Well, we didn't talk about Brenda Fricker as the pigeon lady.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the Marley equivalent in this movie. And it's not as strong as the Marley stuff, but it's still really good. And it gives Brenda Fricker a nice moment where, she takes him up into the Carnegie Hall, upper room. And, she starts sort of telling her story. And Brenda Fricker's great.
She is
always a really dependable actor.
Bugs me here. It felt like the lesson wasn't learned.
It's not.
No.
Yeah, because with the old man Marley, he learned don't believe stories that people tell you, and don't judge a book by its cover. Just because he comes into the convenience store with his hand all bloody, and you know the story or the rumor or the legend of this guy. You don't know if he's a nice guy or not. And I feel like with the pigeon lady, the lesson wasn't learned. It's but I guess you gotta have that equivalent. So it just feels a little bit too weird to me.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really not about they learn. It's like the lesson Kevin learns in all of it, because he is our
Kevin doesn't remember the lesson.
I think he does though. Because remember, he sees the pigeon lady and he screams and he runs away, but then he thinks about it for a second. And comes back to her, and he's like, I'm sorry that I screamed and got scared. I really shouldn't have done that sort of thing. So I think he does learn the lesson, and it shows you that he's learned his lesson from the previous year. Mr. Marley. It just takes him a second. He has to remember the lesson. So I think that's there. It's not as strong. I mean, we got to talk more about just all the stuff at the hotel, which is
real quick, Jackson. Going back to Old Man Marley.
Okay.
I think they named him Marley on purpose because of Jacob Marley from A Christmas Carol, or do you think?
I mean, maybe. I mean,
yeah.
I'd say that makes sense. But so all the stuff in the hotel is maybe the best stuff in the movie. I think it's probably even better than any of the traps at the end. Because you got, I mean, we talked about Tim Curry a little bit, but then you got Rob Schneider in there as the bellboy. And how Kevin continually taunts this man, gives him gum for a tip. And then he comes back later and he's like, oh, no tip necessary. I still have some left over. And Kevin pulls out this wad of money and flashes it in the guy's face and then puts it away. That's so good. And then I love when Peter and Kate come and confront the hotel staff, and Kate goes, what kind of idiots do you have working here? And the woman goes, the finest in New York.
It's so good. Tim Curry really felt it. I mean, in honesty, you didn't really need the wet bandits again. If it had just been about him trying to stay in this hotel with the hotel manager causing him trouble, and he's going from room to room or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but if he had set up a bunch of traps in the hotel, then that's
yeah. You're right.
I don't think that wouldn't really fly, because by the end, he's not the good guy anymore. He's the guy that came into a hotel that he doesn't own and set up a bunch of traps, made a huge mess, and probably hurt the hotel staff.
At least they deserved it. If you figured out a plot point where they were doing some shady stuff behind the scenes, then
I guess
you could justify it. You could figure it out.
Yeah.
But I do love all the stuff with him and the resetting up resetting up the old movie again. I don't remember what this
Angels
one's
with
called.
even filthier
Even Widow
souls.
Their Souls, yes. Cheeks, Bony Bob, Cliff. I could go.
It's a lie.
All that stuff. All that stuff is wonderful.
Yeah, I love that stuff. You want to know something kind of interesting? I remember when when I watched Stephen King's It, the original, for the first time with my mom. And I remember, like, kind of like after the fact, my mom told me that the guy that played Pennywise was a famous character actor, because I didn't know who he was. But
yeah,
it was interesting was I looked him up, and I see like he was a voice in the Wild Thornberries. You know, he was Darkness and Legend. And he was on here. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. I love him.
yeah.
Yeah, he was he was like part of my childhood.
Yeah, he was part of all of our childhoods.
Yeah, for one reason or another. I mean, I connect him more with this movie. I've seen him in It. I didn't see it when it first came out because my parents wouldn't let me watch it. I saw it much later, but I knew him from this movie for sure, and then probably some other stuff. I can't really think at the moment, but Congo, that was a big one.
Congo, I loved Congo as a kid. I've seen that movie like maybe too many times. Stop
I've
eating
only seen
my
it maybe
sesame
twice,
cake.
but yeah, he definitely makes an impression.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
not a good movie. This is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. You'd watch it today and probably hate it, but when I was 10 in 95 when it came out, I loved it.
Right.
Well, like even before I saw it, I didn't see it until I was like much older, like 17. Like Pennywise was always a part of my life because my mom would always like talk about him and how that scared her. So like that book was always a big part of my childhood, or Stephen King was, because I've always like heard about him and my mom talked about him a lot, and then I finally read him and I love the guy. But anyway, you guys ready to wrap this review up?
Real quick, here's an Easter egg, and this is something I just noticed the other night when I was watching this movie again. The ticket taker, the stewardess in Chicago airport in this is the Christmas elf from the first movie.
Oh. And then
what?
And then Chris Columbus is in the toy store.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, then the lady working the desk at the New York airport, that's Ali Sheedy from The Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where she's like, yes, sir. That's New York, sir.
The French steward, not stewardess, the ticket taker in the first one in France, that's someone too, and I can't place
I think it is too. I need to look her up, but her face was familiar. But I just thought, I finally last night or whatever realized, oh, it's the Christmas elf. She's got a job at the airport now.
Working her way up.
Yep.
Yeah, it would have been even more funny if, like, when Kevin's walking around and then he just bumps into Jason. That'd be pretty funny.
Like Jason Voorhees?
Dude, no, okay. We need to make
he's taking Manhattan.
We need to make a Home Alone fan film where, like, Kevin goes back to New York and he just bumps into like famous like New York icons. Well, like he just bumps into like Jason when he's taking Manhattan, like you said. He bumps into the Ninja Turtles. He bumps into like Spike Lee from Do the Right Thing.
I would watch like a 45-year-old Macaulay Culkin do another Home Alone movie as like an adult, where he's protecting his house against a bunch of like delinquent children or something.
But I think that's the movie everyone wants.
Yeah.
Will be really funnier if there's just like a scene in this hypothetical movie where it just cuts to like Jimmy Stewart just like spying on people with his binoculars, and he just sees Kevin walk by, and he's like, "Oh, that kid I've seen awfully familiar. I think I've seen him in a movie."
Okay. Goodness gracious.
So I really like New York movies. Like I never been to New York. I'm
I do
pretty
too, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
You
New
should go
York.
visit. It's worth a visit.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger than you could ever anticipate it being.
It just goes on forever.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure New York is over romanticized in a lot of movies. Maybe not.
Not
Yes
in
and
my
no.
opinion, because if anybody over romanticizes New York, it's me.
Okay.
So New
Oh,
York is just the right amount of romanticized
right.
in my mind.
Okay, I forgot two other characters that he came up into. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith from Men in Black and Spider-Man.
Oh god.
Okay.
Throw John McClane in there while we're at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be really fun. Like, somebody had to make a movie where like they just get people dressed up as like famous fictional characters, like from movies set in New York. There's actually a map that I saw where it's like the entire Manhattan Island and then some of the other islands, but they're like, but it's like film landmarks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like
city's full of them.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So like the Gozer
all of
building, the bridge scene from Spider-Man with Green Goblin. I'm like, that's really cool.
city is full of them. They've been shooting movies there for 100 years.
Yeah, but like on the map, like there's like an icon.
Sure, yeah. It tells you exactly where
real life location. So I thought that was really cool. You ready to get the favorite part and least favorite part?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, I'll let you go first, Jackson.
Okay, favorite part. It's got to be the scene I was talking about where Marv is trying to get Kevin and Kevin screams. It just, I don't know. There's something. It's such a small moment. I don't know if I can pick it. So I'm gonna go with Tim Curry's performance.
Okay.
Tim Curry is just next level in this movie.
Yeah.
Real quick, I forgot to mention one of probably my favorite Tim Curry moment is when Kevin's washing the grits, and he's smiling, and it fades into Tim Curry smiling.
Yeah,
dude. If Tim Curry wasn't dealing with so many health problems right now, like he would be the perfect grunts.
Yeah, I mean, he still does voice acting and stuff, but yeah,
it's really sad to see like
he can't walk anymore.
Yeah,
it's really sad to see like an icon like that in that position.
Yeah, it's rough. It happens to a lot of people though. So I mean,
yeah.
All right. So, what is your least favorite part, Jackson?
Having to see Donald Trump's stupid face. I mean, seriously, it's gotta. I mean, for all the movie's faults, which it has many, I sort of overlook them. But anytime Donald Trump shows up in a movie, because he's in like the Little Rascals too, from around the same time period.
I don't remember that.
He did a lot. Yeah, he has a little cameo in that movie too. And so anytime he shows up in a movie, I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, well, here's the
it's
thing.
Like the most pointless cameo too. Like it's just there to point him in the right. Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah, remind him that he actually owns the hotel.
Well,
well, that's the only. Like I said, that's the only reason he's in the movie. Is just that was part of the deal for them to get to shoot in the hotel.
Well, it's so funny to see that man in so many movies or mentioned in movies that came out before his presidency.
Oh yeah,
he became president. For better or worse, depending where you lean. But that part in American Psycho when they're in the limo, and then Patrick Bateman is like, "Is that Trump?" Like that part. It's like, they didn't know. They didn't know. But anyway, Jackson, what is your favorite trap in this movie?
Favorite trap is gotta be the one that electrocutes Marv.
Oh, you picked mine.
Well, sorry, you let me pick first. I'm gonna pick that one. It's amazing. The whole scene is all the traps are pretty good in this movie, despite the fact that they are lethal. But yeah, you can't beat the skeleton shot and everything in that scene.
All right. Well, how about you, Eric? What is your favorite part?
I mean, I was gonna say all the Tim Curry stuff, which I guess I still can. But I would say it probably. I mean, really, it's like the ending of it like ups the ante in like every way. Which if you're going to these movies, the big draw to them is that a kid takes down a bunch of a bunch of like home invading criminals.
Yeah.
Then it delivers in that fact. So I mean, I would say probably the end of the movie is probably my favorite part.
Okay. And then your least favorite part?
It's just the same movie as the first one. Like there's nothing really new. It's like they hit it beat for beat. Like the same jokes almost the exact same, just told
Yeah.
again in a different location. There's like you'll buy this. You'll
Mm-hmm.
pay the money for it. Yeah.
And then what is your favorite trap?
Second favorite trap do the skeleton one, which is clearly the best one, I think. Is is the tool case going down the stairs
Yes.
and them just listening and can't figure it out. It's really good. It's really good. And they're like prosthetic like fish noses after it's
well
done.
then that's another great Marv moment. It was like, that was the sound of a tool chest coming down the stairs.
All right.
Good.
So my favorite part is Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Yeah.
Like that is this movie's legacy.
Yeah.
And then my second favorite part, or my least favorite part is I just hate how Bud keeps getting away with shit. Like it really bothers me. It really bugs me.
No, that's fair.
My favorite trap is the electrocution scene. So you mentioned it. I want to go.
Yeah.
The bricks that's his classic.
The bricks.
It's a simple but effective. It's simple but effective.
Yeah.
And it's just like Marv continuing to get hit like over and over and over, and like Harry just getting unscathed. It's good.
And you think it's gonna change. You think something different's gonna happen, but the same. Nope. That's what makes it funny is that it's the same every single time.
Yep.
All right. And then what is your rating for this movie?
Me, like 4. I still give it a 4 because I find it very fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Eric?
I'm in the 3.5, somewhere in there. I think it's still a lot of fun. The Tim Curry stuff always still makes me laugh. But it's the same movie again. That's the only thing I keep going back to. Like it's just the same jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my rating is 3.5. It is a lot of fun, but it's just kind of the same kind of crap all over again. All right, guys. So that was our Home Alone portion of our Christmas special. Are you ready to get even more nostalgic? Not about the 90s, but about this past year.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't feel very nostalgic about this past year.
I'm talking about when we're talking about our favorite movies of the year.
Okay.
Right. I don't feel like I've watched.
I just feel like I'm gonna disappoint everyone because I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. I started making a list of things I haven't seen, and it's a huge list compared to the things that I had seen this year.
Well, that's fun. I do like that.
Okay.
All right, you want to go first, Eric? Because I kept letting Jackson go first.
Sure. Sure. I can name off some of my favorite ones, and these are in no particular order. But there's still like a bunch that I have not seen. Like I still haven't seen Killer's Flower Moon. I haven't seen Maestro, and some of these things still haven't been released yet. So like Iron Claw still hasn't come out, and so.
That looks so good. Yeah.
I know. But even things that have been released, I still just Iron Claw.
I want to see that.
But like, there's still just stuff I haven't seen yet, so don't judge me on this. But in no particular order, these are some of the movies I love this year. I love the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's super fun. The animation's cool. I love Beau is Afraid for as many people who hate it, and it's not a great movie, but it's always interesting. I loved Bottoms, which is this sort of lesbian teen fight club. It's wonderful. Guardians 3, Oppenheimer, Barbie, and my favorite movie that I saw this past year was called May December, and it just got released, and it's wonderful. You should watch it.
Yeah, I really want to see that. It sounds interesting.
It's amazing. It's wonderfully interesting, and it is it always keeps you a little off kilter for the entire movie. And there's this actor named Charles Melton, and I'd never seen him anything before. I think he did a bunch of like teen shows, like I don't know, like Teen Wolf or something like that.
Yeah, he's on Riverdale, I think.
That's it, Riverdale. And he's wonderful in it, like amazing.
That's what I keep hearing. Yeah.
So I would recommend see May December of all these because you've probably seen the rest of them. So.
All right. What are some of your favorite movies of this year, Jackson?
Okay, I do have a top 10 because I sort of keep a running top 10 throughout the year. And this is really gonna reflect how few movies I've seen from this year, but I'll go ahead and tell you. So number 10, I've got Evil Dead Rise. Number 9, I've got When Evil Lurks, which is have you seen that, Eric?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard someone recommend it to me like literally like 2 days ago. They were like, "You should go and watch this movie."
It is wild. Okay. Number 8, I have Joyride, which was a delightful surprise.
Yeah,
it's sort of like Asian girls trip. Very, very funny. Number 7, I got Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 6, I've got Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
I haven't seen that yet either.
It's really good. I really liked it a lot. Number 5, I got Scream 6. Number 4, I've got Oppenheimer. Number 3, I've got Barbie. I just stuck them both together. I felt like I had to have both the Barbenheimer films in there. Number 2, I got Knock at the Cabin. And number 1, no surprise, here is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
All right. Great looks, man. All right, so I guess it's my turn. I'm gonna do my honorable mentions real quick, and I'll get to my top 10. Sure. So my honorable mentions are Evil Dead Rise, The Killer, Oppenheimer, Sisu, the one when the guy kills all the Nazis.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, it was good.
That's fun.
The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, the Super Mario Brothers movie, and Thanksgiving. All right. Ready for my top 10 for the year?
Okay.
Yes.
And I'll just give a brief description for them. Number 10 is gonna be Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This is definitely in my top 3 Mission Impossibles. Probably the most suspenseful, like consistently suspenseful Mission Impossible. There's like 3 or 4 scenes where I was like on the edge of my seat. Especially the beginning, in the boardroom with Tom Cruise in the mask. Spoiler, like I have to go to the bathroom during that scene, but I wanted to see what was gonna happen. I was just so freaked out about the entire time. Number 9 is gonna be John Wick Chapter 4.
Nice. That almost made my list. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the John Wick movies, and this is probably my favorite one because it's the most emotional and it's the most action-packed. And Donnie Yen is a freaking badass.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8, I'm gonna go with Elemental.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I thought it was a really beautiful movie about immigration and like like the American dream, when you come here from from another country to to start your life and with your family. And I thought it was a really beautiful story, and it was really touching for sure.
Okay.
It was definitely my favorite Pixar movie since Coco, because a lot of them I kind of skipped, and or I didn't really quite like Lightyear and stuff like that. Number 7, I'm gonna go with Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I forgot.
it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You ever played Megan or did like the animatronics or whatever for Megan was really good.
Really spectacular. Yep.
Yeah, and I just thought the commentary for this movie was sort of related with technology and trauma and all that stuff. I thought that was really interesting.
I loved how that movie kind of skirted the line between like trying to be a legitimate horror movie and then realizing that its premise is really campy and silly and wonderful. I don't know. I really liked Megan.
That would have been on my list, except for technically it's a 2022 movie because it had like festival dates.
Right.
And that's what I go by. I go by whatever Letterboxd says is the year of release.
The year, yeah.
So yeah.
But no, that movie was a lot of fun. Number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We talked this movie to death in our first ramble on, but it is so emotional. It's just the whole thing with Rocket was like really sad. Number 5 is gonna be Creed 3.
Okay.
I still haven't seen Creed 3.
Yeah, it's really good. I know he's in a lot of legal trouble right now, but Jonathan Majors was seriously the best Rocky villain since Apollo. Like he brings so much depth and so much emotion into this movie. And it's kind of sad that he's going through some stuff right now, and I hope he didn't do some of the stuff that he's accused of, because I think he's a very talented actor for sure. But
we'll just have to see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
I watched the video before we came on here, and it's not looking too good in his favor. But
good riddance.
Yeah. Number 4 is gonna be Talk to Me, and it was like a possession movie, but it didn't have like a religious element to it at all.
Yeah, it's true.
It was different. Like it was like between this and like Hereditary, I would much rather watch this movie because it's kind of fun in some aspects of it.
Yeah, it's not nearly as uncomfortable as Hereditary.
Yeah.
Well, it is uncomfortable.
There's a good like 45. Yeah. No, there's a good like 45 minutes in the movie where it's just kind of like fun and creepy, and then it gets terrible.
It gets pretty heavy. Yeah. That's another one that would have been way near the top of my list if it hadn't technically been a 2022 film.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was skirting around.
Yeah, because it played at like Sundance Sundance in like 2022.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then it just took a while to come out.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about like specifically what the general.
Yeah, but I'm just weird that way. When I go on Letterboxd to rate something, I go by whatever the year that Letterboxd has it listed, and I'll put it in. Yeah,
for sure. Number 3 would be Knock at the Cabin. Haven't really loved an M. Night Shyamalan movie in a while. About this movie, I'm actually probably since I've been a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, because right when I started watching his movies, After Earth came out, and House Airbender was out before that.
Yeah, that was his real bad period.
Yeah, and then he came out with some okay movies, some pretty good movies like Split and Glass was okay. Oh, and The Visit was really good. But I think this is like a true masterpiece. Like,
this is fun. Yeah,
with his best movies.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, from like The Village till like After Earth was like a real dark period for him.
Yeah,
and The Village is fine, but then it just kept getting worse and worse.
Yeah,
I really like The Village, and I really enjoy Lady in the Water as well.
In the Water.
Yeah, I like that movie. I don't care.
Okay. And then number 2 will be The Holdovers. Paul Giamatti period 70s movie. I just really love this movie. It was really heartwarming. And we already talked about it in our live stream. But yeah, I think as far as like best actor winning, I think it's gonna be between Giamatti and then Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy's the guy to beat right now.
Yeah.
Maybe. Everything's tipping towards Bradley Cooper right now for Bernstein.
That's
Yeah.
so quickly.
I mean, it's Oscar bait. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's probably going to be Cillian Murphy or Bradley Cooper, just because it's like catnip for the Oscars, like playing like a real person.
Right.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, and a Hollywood person to boot.
Yeah, and I haven't seen
Yeah.
Maestro yet, so I can't really say anything there. But
I'm looking forward to it.
Just yeah, same.
Yeah. Has Giamatti ever won an Oscar before?
No.
He's only been nominated.
He's been nominated.
Okay, so that'd be cool.
Cinderella Man was the only one. Yeah.
Did he not get nominated for Sideways?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
So that's how
they got supporting actors got nominated. So like Virginia Madsen and
oh, okay.
What's his name from Wings?
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Thomas Hayden Church. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of cool. Like 3 like big candidates like so far this year. Like has ever won. And I don't think Cillian Murphy has been nominated before either.
No, he never has.
Yeah, so that'll be even better. Honestly, I'd be okay with either of them winning. Of course, taking Cooper out because I didn't see his movie.
Sure.
I'll do that. It looks interesting. Plus, I really love Bradley Cooper. I think he's a really good really fantastic actor.
Mm-hmm.
And then my number one. This is a movie. If you remember, me coming out of this movie, I was just ecstatic with how amazing this movie was. In a year where it was a little boring compared to last year. But this was like one of the few movies this year that truly blew me away and it captured my imagination. And I just had a lot of fun with that. And that movie is the animated masterpiece, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
When you first started that, I thought you were about to say Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania.
I could have done that joke again.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Well, if you guys remember last year, I did a joke where now keep in mind this was before I saw The Fableman, which ended up becoming my favorite movie of last year. But I made a joke where I made it seem like Firestarter with my favorite movie last year, and I'm like, hey, guys, I'm just kidding. It's Top Gun. But again,
I remember. I thought it was a bold choice. I thought you were I was going to go with it. I was like, okay.
Right.
You really liked it.
Yeah, I really tricked you and Reed on that one. And speaking of Reed, I invited Mr. Lasky on here, but unfortunately he was busy today with something, and he unfortunately couldn't be on here. But I did get him to send his favorite movies and least favorite movies and all that stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna read them off to you.
Okay.
Number 5 is Guardians 3. That's Reed's pick.
Okay.
Number 4 is Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret.
Nice.
His third favorite is Barbie. His second favorite, which this was a big surprise for me, was Scream 6.
Mm-hmm.
And his number one favorite, which matches up mine, is The Holdovers.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yep. So that's some good picks, man. I definitely need to see Barbie and Are You There, God? Because I heard that was really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wish I would have done the full Barbenheimer. I really did, but I don't know why I didn't do it.
It was worth it. It was worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I was just tired of sitting in the theater after Oppenheimer, which that movie is really good.
See, I went to see Barbie first, and then went to see Oppenheimer.
See, I would have done the opposite if I did the Oppenheimer to become the palette of Oppenheimer, because that's a depressing movie right there.
Yeah.
Southern least favorite movie. Jackson, I'll let you go.
Okay. So my least favorite movie of the year is this movie called Nefarious.
I heard about it.
It's like a Christian horror movie, and it's really, really bad. It's about this guy who's like on death row. He's gonna be executed like the next day, and he claims to be like possessed by a demon. but really it's just a whole screed against quote unquote woke culture. It's not good. It's bad. It's got Sean Patrick Flannery in it as the guy, and he's given it his all in the performance. You know, I'm not gonna fault him. It's just a really bad script. Anyway, the other movies that I just didn't really care for this year, basically anything that I gave a 2.5 star or less on Letterboxd. I gave 2 stars. I gave 1 star to Nefarious. I gave 2 stars to both Ridley Scott's Napoleon, which I did not care for. I was bored out of my mind the whole time. And then I really didn't like, I just saw Disney's Wish and I did not like it.
Yeah,
2 stars.
Great things about it.
1 star for one really good song. And then the 2nd star is for the reprise of that one really good song.
Okay.
Everything else was just dull and lifeless. And then I've got 4 movies that I gave 2.5 stars, and Drew is going to kill me for 2 of these. I did not care for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania or Cocaine Bear.
That's fine.
The ones that Drew's not going to like me having at 2.5 stars, though, are Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay. I mean, I love that movie. I love that movie, but the Mario Brothers. What was the other one?
Yeah. Elemental.
See, that's not as egregious.
I was boring, and like the jokes weren't funny, and I don't know. And it's just Pixar like on autopilot.
Yeah, if he would have said anything in my top like 5, then I would have torn your head off and ate your soul. Like,
okay, fine, whatever.
Works. Okay,
but yeah,
here's Reed's top 5 least favorite movies of this year. Number 5 is Haunting in Venice. His number 4 is Nefarious. His number 3, and this is not surprising because the original of this sequel is his favorite movie of all time, and I know he didn't like this movie at all. Like it, and that'll be Exorcist Believer, which I tried to watch. I cannot finish it. It was just
I haven't attempted it yet.
Yeah,
I'll get to it at some point.
Too much of a speed through of the story. Like it never let you like breathe with the characters and really let you get to know who they are. Like the original.
It's just bad. It's just real bad.
Number 2, a movie I never heard of, but it's called Bad Things.
I'm not familiar with that.
Which is funny, when I first saw that on the text, I thought it was Poor Things for a second.
I really want to see.
I want to see that too. That looks really
Yorgos Lanthimos, he is special.
Yes.
Yeah. Not for the I don't want to see it for the reasons you think I want to see it. I do want to see it for those reasons, but it just looks like an interesting movie.
Mark Ruffalo?
No, Emma Stone. That's in the movie.
Okay, she's great. I love Emma Stone. I'll see just about anything with Emma Stone.
But no, it does look like a really interesting movie. I'm looking forward to it. And this number 1 would be Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
I heard that was really bad.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, guys, this is as of December 11th, 2023, when we're recording this.
Yeah, we could still see some pretty bad stuff before the end of the year.
Still a lot out there.
20 more days.
Yeah, this whole section is of that. And then what is your most anticipated movie of next year, Eric?
My most anticipated movie? I didn't do my worst movies.
Oh, what's your worst movie?
Sorry. He didn't do his worst movies. Yeah,
do my worst movies. Let me. I'll roll through them real quick. This one was just like had potential and just kind of squanders it. Kids versus Aliens. I don't know if you ever watched it. It's like 75 minutes of just pointlessness, which is just like a build off of like a segment, like a 15-minute segment in like one of the VHS movies. It's just not good. Also, this one, I mean, it should be good, but it's just kind of disappointing that it's not Asteroid City. Some people love, but I was kind of just bored by. It
Hmm.
looks amazing. There's some wonderful beats in the middle, but like by the end, I was like, I don't care about any of these people. Um, what else? What else was bad this year? Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, just kind of like a pointless sequel to a
I love
movie
those
that
bad.
I thought it was unnecessary. I don't even think we really needed it. Like the first 20 minutes or so are fun, but they go on for too long, and that's probably
Yeah.
about the best point of the movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical.
I
Maybe not. I don't know.
okay. I superficially enjoyed that movie. I mean, it was
Hmm.
definitely better than Kingdom of the Crystal
Oh,
Skull.
yeah, better than Crystal Skull for
But
sure.
to me, we can spoil it, right? Who cares?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
When they didn't leave Indy in the past like he
Hmm.
wanted,
Yeah, yeah,
that is such a missed opportunity. That's
yeah.
that's how I wanted the movie to end, with
Yeah.
him
It would have
like
made
living in
so much more sense
ancient
if it
Greece.
ended that way.
It would have made more sense, and it just would
Yeah.
have been like a satisfying ending for the character. Like when
Hmm.
he was like saying leave me here, I had tears in my eyes. I was like really emotional. I was like, oh, if they do this, it's going to be the most incredible ending for this
Yeah.
iconic character. And then they chickened out and didn't do it.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yep.
made me so
And
mad.
I was just like, stupid movie. And then it goes back and like tries to, yeah, it's just, and it was so long. It was like 2.5 hours, and
It
it was
was
just like,
really long. Yeah, it's too long for an
just kind of boring.
Indiana Jones movie. Should be 2 hours in and out,
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
Tops in and out.
two
Yep.
hours.
I will
Yeah.
say it did not have the going, expanding on that. It did not have the pacing of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but that's Spielberg. He's the master of pacing.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
say what I did like about that movie: Phoebe Waller-Bridge,
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
really good.
Agreed. Agreed. I wish I
absolutely charming on screen, and it made me go back and finally watch Fleabag.
Fleabag. Oh,
Fleabag.
You know, watch that.
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Fleabag is
Oh,
wonderful.
she's so great in that. Yeah.
And
Okay.
she's really good in this movie. So much so that I wish that it was just a movie about her
About
and
her.
not
Yeah.
about Indiana
I would have
Jones.
totally watched that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. And then my least favorite one was probably Quantum Mania. Just
Yeah.
boring. Just completely
So
boring.
boring.
Yeah.
All right. My least favorite movie, and I know this is the low hanging fruit because this movie was pretty much sat upon, crapped upon, by people, and it really seen its dog days over the years. And I really hate to trash on this movie, but that is the Flash.
Mm,
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Like,
I didn't bother.
yeah, I felt
it's
like
pretty
this movie
bad.
was pointless. The CGI was horrendous. The fact that the
Mm.
studio didn't even address the Ezra Miller situation at all really made me sick to my stomach. And the only reason why I saw this movie in theaters or even gave it the time of day was because of Batman. And if it's
Right.
not in this movie, I would have seen it and supported it. Because I hate how the studio handled that situation. And I got
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
I got more thoughts on that, but I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jackson, what is your most anticipated of next year?
I don't know because I don't really know what's coming out. I'm looking at a list on IMDb, and some of this seems like I don't know if it's actually going to be coming out
I got
or
Mm-hmm.
if it's just listed that way on IMDb. But a
Mm-hmm.
couple stood out. The main one that stood out that I'll mention is Maxine,
mhm.
the
Yeah.
third entry in the Ty
Mm-hmm.
West Mia Goth trilogy. I really, really want to see
Okay.
Maxine.
What about you, Eric? What is your most anticipated?
I I don't know. I don't really have anything that I'm really like looking forward to. I mean, like what Jackson was saying, is like who knows? Maybe some of these will come out. Maybe some of them
Right.
won't. There's a new Tarantino movie coming that may be good. This is his last one supposedly. I'm kind of looking forward to Furiosa, but I'm keeping my you
Yeah.
know, keeping my expectations low.
Right.
I don't know. Bad Boys 4?
Oh, that's coming out?
I don't know what to say. There's a third Bad Boys. It's not bad.
Interesting.
The third one's not bad. The second one's pretty bad. The first one's not great. But yes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have a movie that I'm super looking forward to. I kind of love going into the year not knowing exactly what's coming out and then like
Right.
getting surprised. Like, oh, didn't know this was coming. Oh, this is a wonderful surprise. So I'm up for some surprises in 2024.
Cool. So before I get to mine, I'll do Reed's real quick. And he actually ended up doing 4 because one of his was Beyond the Spider-Verse, but that got delayed for like a couple weeks later, or I don't know when it's exactly coming out, but
Yeah.
So his did 4. His number 4 is the Untitled Jordan Peele project.
Oh, well, yeah.
Didn't even know. I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't even know he was coming out with something next year.
Yeah, that looks real.
That sounds great.
I mean, he's one of those directors like Mike Flanagan. Like you just say his name, and I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for that. Number 3 is gonna be Godzilla X Kong.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. I did not expect that at all. His number 2 is Maxine. It's not surprising. And then number 1 is Nosferatu.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by that.
So. Yeah. I'll make a long story short, that's my number 1 most anticipated. I think it looks real interesting. Because he did like Robert Eggers does like period movies, but they're like real trippy in some parts.
Oh yeah.
That'd be kind of interesting to see that. Another quick honorable mention I just want to say real quick is Deadpool 3, because my boy Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine.
Yeah, I really hope that's good. I hope Disney doesn't ruin that franchise.
Yeah, I mean
they probably will. The thing that makes me nervous about is that it was made during the writer's strike, and so I heard reports that they couldn't deviate any from the script, so they couldn't improv because then that. So I don't know.
That's technically writing.
Writing, yeah. So it's like, is it? I don't know. Maybe it was a great script to begin with, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Or maybe they'll do a lot of pickups now that the writer's strike has been resolved.
They could just easily do that. Yeah. They do that all the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Punch ups.
But anyway, guys, we're at the last segment, and then we'll be done with the last video or last episode of the year. And our last segment is gonna be the 2024 episode slate. What we got planned for next year. So as you guys may know, we're taking a break in January. Because I think we all need it after MCU Look Back and all the other episodes. It's just been a lot this year, and then the Wrath of Michael Myers, took a lot out of me, Eric and my mom. So that's another factor that kind of contributes to it.
I feel fine.
No, it isn't. I mean, I'm sure you do. I'm just saying that it's always good to like take a break.
Sure, of course.
From things and kind of reflect and
100%. I'm gonna spend the last 2 weeks of the year catching up on movies that I missed throughout the year.
Well, that's the thing, Eric. Like, you're not the mastermind behind all this. Like, I'm have to edit these videos too, and that takes a lot.
That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah. So here's a preview for next year. The first episode is going to be with me and Jackson because we're going to do Guillermo del Toro Part 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were doing that.
Yeah, I don't know what movie we're gonna talk about, but it's gonna be because the first one I wanted to do movies I haven't seen from him. I think this one's gonna be more movies I have seen from him.
Okay.
So yeah,
there's not that many left. I mean, there's Mimic. Blade 2,
Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, Devil's Backbone. That's a big one. We talked about
Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one. I mean, there's Crimson Peak, Pacific Rim, Shape of Water.
I always forget about Crimson Peak.
Yeah, we already did that one in the first one.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we did, didn't we?
We did a lot to say about it. That was the thing.
Yeah, I remember talking about it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Carry on.
So I don't know exactly what movie we're gonna do yet, but we'll we'll discuss that
Okay.
pod at some point. Also, we got we got several big anniversaries, but specifically next year's going to be the 40th year anniversary of the Terminator franchise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be reviewing Terminator 1 and 2 next year. The reason why we're doing both is because I don't want to, because like Terminator 2 was like 91, 92, and I'm not waiting another decade for that movie. So,
yeah. I don't want to wait another 7 years to do Terminator 2.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. If you guys watched our Halloween David Gordon Green trilogy review, you remember that I gave you the slate for next year's October horror movie review series. If you don't remember or you didn't watch that episode, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do 2 movies that are turning 40. So Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, and then Friday the 13th, Part 4. And then we're doing 2 movies that turn 30. The Crow and then Interview with the Vampire. And then hopefully me and Reed got another list episode planned, but that's not 100% guaranteed. I just went if our schedule will end up working out. And what we're planning on doing is scariest and most disturbing horror movie moments. Not necessarily our favorite one like we did a lot, the previous year, but like scenes that really scared the crap out of us. And then for a Halloween special, me and Eric, we're gonna do a Ghostbusters commentary.
At least we know that is like a finite amount of time. It's like an hour and 40 minutes, and then it can't be any longer than that. So
yeah, and I want
no
that
2.5 hours.
Yeah, and I want that to be our first commentary ever, because that movie's awesome.
Okay.
Plus, that's another one that's turning 40, so I'll work that.
True.
And then I got some other stuff that I want to do next year, but that's not like necessarily set in stone. But I'll be updating you on that within the coming months. And I think next year is going to be a better year. Hopefully, I want to get better every year I do this.
Of course.
Yeah, and then of course we'll try to continue the MCU look back.
Yeah. Got to finish it at this point, right? I mean, eventually they'll stop making Marvel movies, right?
Hopefully. Probably not.
Oh, who knows?
But anyway, guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slash that subscribe button. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. And also, don't forget to leave this episode a killer comment and a King Kong size thumbs up. This has been Drew from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. Over and out. And I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, you filthy animals.